Hi, KyungJin. Thank you for being here. We are really happy to welcome you to VentureVibe. To begin, could you introduce yourself and tell us about your journey?
Yeah. Thank you for inviting to this interview. Actually, I had been with the government financial institution, the quasi government financial institution dedicated to supporting the innovative startups and tech ventures, technology SMEs, technology small and medium sized enterprises for 20 years. The name of the organization was Korea Technology Finance Corporation. That organization, while I was working there for 20 years, I have been, several different positions, including not only providing a debt guarantee for technology-based SMEs, but also I was with the capital market related commodity stock, financial commodity stock, primary CBO, collateralized bond obligation, for more than 800 very promising Korean startups, which base asset of which was were the convertible bonds and the bond warranties. And after that, I was an initiating member of the Equity Investment Center. It was a very small team at the very beginning, back in the year 2004. But now we have 4 centers nationwide, in major big cities. And equity investment business has been a very good business for my previous company. And also, I was with the technology evaluation department, which I delved myself into creating a evaluation criteria, evaluation system, rating system, and then the valuation methodology of the technology valuation methodology. So standardized approach, very standardized approach. So, and then I, for example, the Korean content culture, the culture content, for example, Korean. The dramas, films, all those things. We had to set up a new evaluation criteria and the new evaluation, the rating system. And then I was in that team. I initiated that team. And then also green technology was a very big boom back then, between the year 2009 to year 2011. So I made the system of how to assess the green technology stuff. And it became the grand national scheme for a certification. So I did that. Also, after that, more interestingly, I was with IP, the intellectual property. My previous organization used to do only the valuation of the intellectual property, but I kind of sharpened the IP financing scheme and also IP intermediation scheme. And then we set up the new system, and then the new institutions, and then the new centers nationwide. Also, that business became very huge boom. So with all those various experiences even within one organization, it's a huge organization, I have nurtured how to see the relative position of the deep tech companies among their peer groups. My strengths lies in the quickly sensing their comparative advantage among their peer groups when I bump into one early stage company. So with this peculiar strengths, I started my own micro VC back in the year 2021. My company is only 5 years old. And here in Korea, very strangely, from your perspective, the investment company should be licensed by the government. And there are 3 different categories. So one category is a new technology investor. They are under the Ministry of the Financial Supervisory Commission, so Ministry of Finance side. And then Ministry of SMEs and the startup side has 2 licenses. And the one license is what we call it a venture capital, right? The other one is the accelerator. So I started, because I didn't have much money, I had to use my retirement money. So I started as an accelerator back 5 years ago. And then in Korea nowadays, there are more than 540 accelerators in operation. But we are now ranked as number 30. So 26 to 33, we go back and forth between that range. So yeah, so far we specialize in identifying deep tech companies at a very early stage. Deep tech companies at a very early stage, and then when we make an investment at the very nascent embryonic period, within 1 year, the follow-on investment really booms from the on the bigger VC side. Yeah, this is what briefly I introduced myself.
Thank you. Great journey. Thank you. And looking at it from an investor's point of view, what do successful founders do differently when raising investment?
What I found out throughout my 25 years of experience in the ecosystem, very early stage of my career, I saw so many technology companies just they do what they want to do. Yeah, in the past, the phenomenon was very strong. That phenomenon was very strong, especially when the engineer or scientist was the founder. But as time went by, ecosystem really evolved, and then there are many chances that for the companies to prepare before they actually start the business. What really differentiates is those ones who really know not only about their own technology but also about their relative positions, relative strengths, comparative advantage in advance even before they start. So if they understand that market dynamics, competition dynamics, those ones have a higher possibility to excel others.
Yes, that's really interesting. Yeah. And as a venture capitalist, which deep tech sectors are you most excited about over the next 5 years?
People may say AI because it is a world phenomenon, but I see it a little bit slightly from a different angle. Not sure whether it is politically correct to mention this, but the world economies nowadays, to my eyes, it dichotomized between China and United States, and then both had been very mutually dependent. But nowadays, they are in a kind of a competitive relation. So this poses a great opportunity for Japan and Korea, and then probably also European countries as well. In the United States, manufacturing base has been abandoned for a long time ago. Although we say AI, and then when we think about the AI, people easily think of the humanoid and so ChatGPT, cloud, those kind of things. But if we look really deeper into that, what we have to see is a lot of the big mega industries addressing that AI system. So, for example, the semiconductor, when because AI is now leading the world, semiconductors themselves have to change themselves a lot. So, because of that reason, the Korea's the stock market has been booming for the last 2 years, right? So SK Hynix, especially those who produces HBM. So they started HBM, and then their the throughput, the production ratio is not as strong as what they produce when they produce the traditional, conventional NAND or the memory, those kind of stuff. But demand is too strong and very high. Because of that, due to very poor performance over the throughput, they are exporting a lot. So they are making a lot of money, but they are still throwing away a lot of the defected HBM. So there is a huge room for improvement in that area, especially for new material, especially how to deal with the heat, and then how to deal with the very micro level of a probe card type of thing, and then changing the materials to better deal with the heat and other the speed and then the high pressure type of stuff. So entire value chain is now ready for the new era of the innovations. So those small innovations are being made by a lot of science and then technology related the deep tech startups coming out of either research institute, universities, and then even not for these two sources, but there are other sources that those people used to work for Samsung Electronics, LG Display. Those people, after having so many multiple 10 years of experience, they come out and then make a business and then make a startup, and then they are coming up with a really great technology, which becomes a very small but very important part of a big value chain. So I'm taking a bet on those areas. Yeah,
that's semiconductor, a good perspective.
Yeah, new material, semiconductor related, the new material, and the battery related thing, the battery related thing, and then the new way of pressing so that we can make the film very thin film technology, all those kind of technologies. I'm looking at that.
Okay, thank you. And let's move on to international expansion. For international founders looking to enter the Korean markets, what should they understand before approaching investors, partners, or customers?
Yes, it's a very interesting question because more and more compared with 15 years ago when I first started to have a global side of the business where I met Gokan Celebi. So with back then I matched the Gokan's company, Gokan's startup with a Korean technology startup. So with that experience, more and more the foreign entrepreneurs are coming to Korea. Because here is, on the one hand, it is for the B2B businesses, we do have a world level conglomerates like Samsung, Hyundai, those kind of conglomerates. So they are hoping to make a deal with transactions with those big companies. And that's one cohort. The other cohort, B2C side of the entrepreneurs, they are coming to Korea because Korea is a very but difficult, but once we are successful in Korea, it's very easy to spread around the East Asian region. So it's a very difficult but promising test market. So they are coming to Korea for two reasons. And but I want to say that every year, do you know a K Startup Global Challenge? This is a government-led program, 11 years old program.
No, I don't know.
Okay, so the Korean government started this back in the year 2015, I guess. 15, I guess. So at the early period, just startups, foreign entrepreneurs, just with a very light mind, casual mind, I want to go to Korea and then play for a bit, like that type of people came. But these days, it's a very competitive program. The program became very popular. So, they select only 40 companies every year, finally, and more than 2,000 applications come
2,000. Wow.
Yeah, 2,000. Yeah. It became very popular because government support for 10 months. So they let entrepreneur from abroad come to Korea, and then the government provide the accommodation, the money to stay, and then get opportunity to meet potential business partners, and also the IR pitching days, everything. Government does everything
during 10 months. Perfect.
Yeah, over the 10 months, and then normally the 20 to 30% of them actually incorporate in Korea. These days, the program became really serious and very popular, but at the same time, it's a very highly competitive, so it's hard to get in. So every year, since year 2015, every 2 to 3 years, I have attended, I have joined that program as a judge. And then what I found out every year after I started this, my own program, my own company, since year 2020, every year I'm attending as a judge. So every year, the quality of the startups coming from abroad, they're very they are enhancing, very heightened, and they're very specific and very concrete. So who are actually selected as a final 40? This is a good answer to your question, I guess. If I, they really examined thoroughly about the Korean market before they come. Yeah, so they know who would be the potential client, what I can get, from the Korea. The purpose is very clear. And then they exactly knew what's the goodness about going into Korea. And if they don't have that, even that program drops them.
That was really interesting. Thank you. And finally, one last question. And what advice would you give to founders who want to build globally competitive technology companies from day one?
A lot of companies they stick to I know it's very difficult to develop a certain specific potentially great technology from the TRL 4 to 5 to TRL 7 to 8. Very itself demands really a lot of energy and the concentration. But so because of that, a lot of engineering, the hard tech, deep tech companies, spend very long time in a very immersive manner. Without looking around, they just really immerse themselves into the heightening their level of development. Simultaneously, what they have to do is what kind of problem am I solving? And they always start with the problem seemingly existing, in near future in domestic market. But I want to advise them to look around on a global scale. If I have this technology, what kind of problems I can solve here in Korea, in the United States, in Europe, in China, in Southeast Asia? What kind of problems are there? So what kind of if I have this technology, whose problem and what kind of problems I can solve? So from the day one, very early stage, they have to think globally, and then they have to set up the sequence. This makes a huge difference. Other than that, one company, there are so many companies really delving their 100% energy into developing and heightening the level of the development, the completion level of the completion, and then after completing, there is already another technology which can easily replace this one. So by looking at those the maps, technology and who else are there on a global scale and doing the trying to solve the same problem. They really have to look into that from the very early stage. Other than that, after years and years of the hard work, their effort would not bear any fruit. And also, just one more thing. So many engineers still, this has been weakened, the getting better actually, compared with 10 years ago, worldwide. But still, the phenomenon of engineer-minded people, more I wanna do it myself type of stuff. But market doesn't wait for them. For example, I met one a Turkish startup entrepreneur last year, and then he's a young and very talented person, and then he already made the business pretty good in the Turkish market. But he realized that if he comes to Korea, he can open a bigger market here because his technology is education technology using AI. He really thoroughly studied before he came, and thoroughly studied who are the major competitors and what are their pitfalls and why they cannot really flexibly make the system like that. And he came and then he got into the Grand Challenge program, and he got the number 1 last year. And why? Because he was so much prepared. He knew exactly what competitors' weakness, strengths, everything. So and that's one thing. Yeah, that's one agility and then the readiness that I want to advise. And then the other thing is there is one company, Korean company, which I invested 3.5 years ago. That company is really hot nowadays. And today also I received a phone call from another secondary fund. Would you sell the companies to us like that? So I said no to them. And then today, that company, the strategy was very clear. If I can do, within a short period of time, I'll do. But if I cannot do, I'll source the technology outside. So some of the technology, they have their own technology, but they couldn't have find out another part of the technology on their own. And if they intend to make the technology developed on their own, it's going to take a really long time. And there is also uncertainty over not achieving their goal. So instead of that, they look into the German market, and then they went to Germany, and then they really look into who has the technology, and they met one the scientist, and then they sourced the technology know-how and the patents together, and then with their own technology of the EFPM motor. And then they used they leveraged they acquired the patent and then also that person's know-how and then that person's environment by setting up the German affiliate company. And then together, they made a very strong leading company position within 2 to 3 years. So they are now the leader of the new motor era. So this is what I want to say. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's a really good success story. KyungJin, thank you so much for sharing your insight with us today. It was a real pleasure to speaking with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very nice to meet you. Yeah.